Welcome to Wildcard Wednesday on the Michele Tafoya podcast. Wildcard Wednesday might be my favorite day because we look at stuff that's going on. We look at sound from other outlets and then we have fun. We're going to start. You know what the trouble is? The trouble is news is happening so fast that you think you've gotten something timely. And the next thing you know, it's old news because something new is happening at the White House or somewhere else. I mean, it's crazy. But as we record this, RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is sitting in committee at the Senate in the United States Capitol, where he is being grilled as he's the nominee for HHS Secretary, Health and Human Services. MAHA is the group, that loves him. So that is what's happening now. Before I forget, please subscribe. Just hit that subscribe button real quick so you never miss an episode. We'd love to have you on board. Doesn't cost you anything. Just subscribe. It's easy. Anywhere you get your podcasts. Okay. So RFK Jr., that we've seen some of the protest. The thing about when you're undergoing a hearing on Capitol Hill, there are going to be protesters. So if you're the guy or gal sitting there at the table, you have to not let those bother you. And I've watched real closely the reactions. Marco Rubio was the funniest because his protester spoke in Spanish and he said, wow, I get bilingual protesters. So that was funny. But it's going to happen. It's a fact of life. So it's really interesting to watch how well prepared these nominees are for that yelling to start. And they just stop talking and look straight ahead. It's amazing. RFK Jr. is there and he's being grilled and he's got support in the building. Let's show you this, which you may not see on network television or anywhere else. This is a video of some of the support coming out of the Capitol. Roll it, John.
I am here at the Durst office building. We're getting ready for Bobby's Senate hearing. I've got to go down this line, guys. I'm getting ready to show you all of this support that Bobby has. Everybody, look.
He has a lot of support.
Hey, everybody, wave. Say hi to Bobby. Bobby, you wouldn't believe it, but you have hundreds and hundreds of supporters already here waiting for you to arrive, Bobby. So come on.
Well, there you go. And it's interesting. Now, look, we can say protesters are often paid to show up. Maybe supporters are sometimes paid to show up. I can't ignore that concept, that possibility. The dog is very much a MAHA guy. If you can hear him in the background, Jersey is all about making America healthy again. He just got groomed yesterday, so he's feeling good. So there you go. That is... A lot of those people make it into the hearing room, but some of them just have to stand in the hallway or the lobbies and wait. So that's what's going on first and foremost. Today, though, and all week, and really for the last week, it seems like the topic on everyone's mind is the word deportation and what that means and how it's unfolding in America. Now, before we get into what's happening now, I want to take you on a little trip down memory lane and remind you of what Democrats once believed and said and promised about illegal immigration. It's important to look back at this before we look forward because now so many Democrats are saying, this is awful, this is awful, this is awful what's going on. But here we go, maybe just 11, 12 years ago. So what could possibly have changed except that we have millions of new illegal immigrants in America? But here's a flashback of Democrats talking about illegal immigration. Roll it.
Pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants.
I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes. And you have to try to learn English. and you have to wait in line.
Okay, Clinton. I was wondering what you think about like securing the Mexican border with some of the illegal immigrants that come in. Just wondering.
Well, look, I voted numerous times when I was a senator to spend money to build a barrier to try to prevent illegal immigrants from coming in. And I do think you have to control
the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose. If you don't think it's illegal, you're not going to say it. I think it is illegal and wrong, and we have to change it.
Will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City. We're getting 10,000 migrants a month. Now we're getting people from all over the globe have made their minds up that they're going to come through the southern part of the border and come into New York City.
Okay. What's changed? What in the heck has changed? Now, Eric Adams there, the mayor of New York City, that's very recent. That's within the last year. And I know that he is on board with working with Tom Homan, and the Department of Homeland Security. Kristi Noem was just confirmed as the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. So they're working on that. But then you've got people saying, well, we'll show you some of those. One thing, though, I love is the pushback from J.D. Vance. Now, he was on one of the Sunday shows with Margaret Brennan, and she's, what's the word? Smug, arrogant. There's hubris there. Look, I think when you're a journalist and an interviewer, you need to listen and you need to be direct with your questions. And, could I say if I was sitting with someone I totally disagreed? Well, I do it. I do it on this podcast. I did it with Dean Phillips. I did it with Ryan Clark. I'm not saying I'm the best interviewer in the world, but what I'm saying is you've got to listen and you've got to not bring your agenda to the interview. But let's go ahead and run this first cut. Margaret Brennan and J.D. Vance. Roll it, John.
Well, this is a country founded by immigrants.
Well, this is a country founded by...
country.
This is a very unique country, and it was founded by some immigrants and some settlers. But just because we were founded by immigrants doesn't mean that 240 years later that we have to have the dumbest immigration policy in the world.
Oh, bravo. I really like J.D. Vance. I really do. He is so prepared and he is so ready for that kind of smugness. Now, this continued with Margaret Brennan. And out of it came a line that is, I think, turning into a T-shirt and a bumper sticker. And so this goes on about deportations. Go ahead, John.
I want to ask you about refugee admissions, which were just suspended by the president. That has nothing to do with the U.S. border. Refugee screening takes 18 to 24 months to go through. They are heavily vetted. Left literally at the airport this week were thousands of Afghans, some of whom had worked with the United States government and were promised to come here. When you talked to us in August, you said, I don't think we should abandon anybody who's been properly vetted and helped us. Do you stand by that?
Well, Margaret, I don't agree that all these immigrants or all these refugees have been properly vetted. In fact, we know that there are cases of people who allegedly were properly vetted and then were literally planning terrorist attacks on our country. That happened during the campaign, if you may remember. So clearly not all of these foreign nationals have been properly vetted.
But there are 30,000 people in the pipeline, Afghan refugees.
But my primary concern as the vice president, Margaret, is to look after the American people. And now that we know that we have vetting problems with a lot of these refugee programs, we absolutely cannot unleash thousands of unvetted people into our country.
These people are vetted.
Good.
These people are vetted.
Just like the guy who planned a terrorist attack in Oklahoma a few months ago, he was allegedly properly vetted, and many people in the media and the Democratic Party said that he was properly vetted. Clearly he wasn't. I don't want my children to share a neighborhood with people who are not properly vetted, and because I don't want it for my kids, I'm not going to force any other American citizens' kids to do that either.
No, and that was a very particular case. It wasn't clear if he was radicalized when he got here or while he was living here.
I don't really care, Margaret. I don't want that person in my country, and I think most Americans agree with me.
I don't really care, Margaret. I don't really care when he was vetted, or excuse me, when he was radicalized. What does it matter? He was radicalized. He was primed to be radicalized. I don't really care, Margaret. It reminds me of another great moment in J.D. Vance history when he was being interviewed by Martha Raddatz. This was maybe my favorite J.D. Vance moment of the campaign. And it was very similar to what just happened with Margaret Brennan. I don't really care, Margaret. This one, to me, is magic. Go ahead, John.
The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border. Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs. I worry so much more about that problem than anything else here. We've got to get American communities in a safe space again. And unfortunately, when you let people in by the millions, most of whom are unvetted, most of whom you don't know who they really are, you're going to have problems like this.
Martha, do you hear yourself? The reason it's so great is he's saying, wake up. Are you hearing what you're saying about this? I don't really care, Margaret. And Martha, do you hear yourself? Bumper stickers, t-shirts, whatever. But it's calling out the media for trying to, put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. It's saying this is, it's a handful of apartment complexes. Really? So maybe the video of the week comes from a celebrity who is so upset about these deportations. Now, she posted this. All I have to say is Selena Gomez. I think everyone has seen it probably, but it's worth looking at again. She posted it and then she unposted it. But the problem is when you post a video, even if you unpost it, someone's already captured it. So be careful what you post, kids at home. Let's look at Selena Gomez, who is decrying these deportations. Go ahead, John.
I just want to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. They don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise.
Now, there are going to be people who say they empathize with Selena. I want Selena to sit down with the family of Laken Riley, with the mother of Jessica Ngari, with the families of other Rachel Morin, people who have had their lives ripped apart because people who were here illegally, criminals, killed their loved ones. Has she cried for them? Now, maybe in times of quiet, she has. I can't say. I don't know. But she didn't do it publicly. And she's saying, all of my people. It's not just your people. Look, there are, and I think I have seen one mom and a child in a video. They are going after the worst of the criminals. Now, if you want to break it down, anyone who comes into the country illegally has committed a crime. Our friend Gad Sad, who's writing a book called Suicidal Empathy, this is what he's talking about. You have so much empathy for everybody else except your fellow citizens that you'll welcome all of these unvetted people, and you can say, oh, but they're vetted. Well, I bet I could get vetted into any other country and then, go commit a crime. So The tears are misplaced, Selena. And if you'd like to open up your home to some of these people, or if you'd like to sponsor some of these children, who, by the way, are you crying for the children who are missing or being sex trafficked? What about those people who were trafficked here illegally for nefarious purposes? Are you crying for them? I mean, it is so easy to just say, oh gosh, you're being deported. I'm so sorry. I'm going to cry. And not look at the other side. Look at the other side. All right, so it's worth it to one more time take a quick flashback into history. All of the Democrats who think this is evil and wrong and cruel and all the rest, and are crying and saying, I wish there was something I could do. Did you have those same feelings when Barack Obama in 2014 said this?
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
Okay. Were you crying then? It's amazing. I hate to give any attention to AOC, but she's got so many eyeballs on her that I have to draw this attention. You know, she went down to the border when Trump was in his first administration, 45. She went down to the border and cried and said families were being forced to drink out of the toilet, which I think she has no idea what she's talking about. And she cried about the children, babies in cages, people in, all children in cages. Has she cried at all or lifted a finger in Congress to find these 350,000 missing children? Has she cried over the fact that women have been raped while being trafficked across the border? Has she cried about any of that? No, it's only politically expedient to cry when your enemies, when your political foes are in charge. That's when it's politically expedient. And that's what all of this is. Now, Caroline Leavitt, the youngest press secretary in American history, did her first press briefing yesterday, and she's really taken no prisoners, and she's pretty blunt. Let's roll this quick clip of Caroline Leavitt.
Caroline, on immigration. Of the 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
You may have to point at the worst first. They all have a criminal record?
And welcome to the briefing. If they broke our nation's laws, yes, they are criminal. Yes.
Thank you.
What's amazing is that reporter in the first part of her question said, how many of them have criminal records outside of being in the country illegally? Outside of being in the country illegally. I mean, look, we are not without compassion, those of us who believe in border security and want these deportations. We're not without compassion. There are people who are applying for asylum, but the vast majority of these people are coming here for economic reasons. And you should get in line. And you shouldn't do it illegally. It sounds harsh, but once you sneak into a country, you are there illegally. And that goes on your record. Okay. Shifting gears just a little bit, John Fetterman went on The View. It wouldn't be a Wildcard Wednesday without a View clip. And he actually said, and I'm going to set this up for you because we're going to come into the clip a little bit into the interview, but he first notes that he thought the accusations and the court case against Donald Trump in New York City was politically motivated. And he didn't agree with the Hunter Biden pardon. He thinks a lot of this stuff is political, including that court case. And Sunny Hostin was sort of taken aback, and she followed up. And let's listen to that exchange.
Mean that the 34-count case in which Donald Trump was found guilty of various financial crimes was politically motivated here in New York?
I found that when the judicial system gets weaponized and targeted political enemies for political gain, I think that's inappropriate, and I think that degrades our collective trust in this a very important institution, whether that's on a Democratic going after a Republican or a Republican going after a Democratic one. And I like to think I call it strikes and balls, because the judicial system has to remain impartial. I mean, that's really the cornerstone of our society.
Because he had earlier said, those charges wouldn't have been brought against anybody else. And he's right to say that. And many, many, many legal scholars on both sides of the political spectrum have said as much. Sonny was very disturbed. Very disturbed. All right. Take a quick moment here to tell you about American Independence Gold. One of the things, there are a lot of people trying to sell you gold. But what I like about American Independence Gold is that they're veteran owned and that a portion of every purchase goes to help Tunnel to Towers, which is one of my favorite foundations supporting veterans and first responders. Now, there's a lot, like I said, watching the news these days is like drinking water from a fire hose. I know, everyone's using that example. I get it. It's fast and furious, and things are changing, and things with China are changing. I mean, now they've got this AI instrument in China that people are downloading on their phones like it's no big deal. And that could be, look, anything associated with China, you really have to be careful about, because the government controls everything in China. Everything. So why would you gamble with your financial future? And don't gamble with your data, and don't gamble with your financial future. Regardless of who is in office, you want to safeguard your wealth. That's essential. And while we're feeling some optimism, it doesn't mean you can relax and get complacent. That's why I'd like you to take a look at American Independence Gold. Visit tafoyagold.com, TAFOYA gold.com to learn more, or the number's there on the screen. It's also in the show notes, the link, 833-324-4653, 833-324-4653. For generations, silver and gold have been the ultimate safe haven. Those precious metals have weathered wars, they've weathered recessions. And so this is more about it's not only about owning gold. It's about taking control of your financial future. As I mentioned, they're a proud veteran-owned company. They give a portion of their proceeds to Tunnel to Tower, and they cover custodial fees for life on qualifying accounts. So don't wait. Act before it's too late. Go to tafoyagold.com, TAFOYA gold.com, or call 833-324-4653, 833-324-4653, or tafoyagold.com. Make the move to secure your future. Make the move today. TAFOYA gold.com. Okay, so, one of the other kind of quiet issues, it wasn't really that quiet. I take it back. One of the issues that was kind of on the periphery, though, was this trans and the gender ideology, biological males playing in women's sports, being in women's spaces, prisons, dressing rooms, and the like. And a lot of parents didn't like this idea. Heck, a lot of people didn't like this idea. And I want to play you this video because I think that when you tell a child they were born in the wrong body and that they should have their body changed to meet their dysphoria in the moment, you tell a child that, I think it's extremely dangerous. And Tuesday, the president, Trump, signed an executive order saying there will be no more federal funding. I can't even believe there has been federal funding for these chemical castrations, for these physical changes, these surgeries, this gender affirming care. No, we're not talking about counseling. That's the care that these kids need, not this immediate knee jerk reaction that, oh, we can change your body. Yeah, we can take your breasts away. If you want to be a male and if you want to be a female, we can do whatever you want. We can do this. That should not be the first reaction, particularly in the case of youth. So I can't believe that executive order had to be signed, but it was to the happiness of a lot of people. But I want to use this example because there are many who believe, and there are studies being conducted about this dysphoria, that it is part of a larger mental health issue, that these aren't just, just straight thinking kids at 12 years old saying, yeah, add a penis or take away my breasts. And there's another example, and it was on the show called The Doctors, which Dr.Phil hosts. He is conservative, but this is kind of a parallel example. And I want you to watch this because when I saw it, it blew me away. This is an interview with a young lady named Jewel. And she didn't think she should be able to see. She thought she should be a blind person. Okay, that's sort of like being born in the wrong body. Like, I think I should have been blind. Now, I can't imagine that this is a 100% mentally healthy individual. So I'll let you see it. This person came on this show voluntarily on The Doctors with Dr. Phil. And I want you to see the reaction. I'd like you to see the audience reaction. Let's roll this, John.
Do you have any regrets about taking your own vision or the process with which you did take your own vision?
I don't have any regrets taking my vision. I believe I should have been born blind, and I'm happy the way I am. I do have some regrets about the way I did it, but in the end, I'm happy the way I am.
Dr. Phil, with all due respect to Jewel, but I am having a really hard time sitting so close to someone who traumatized herself, who damaged herself. We took an oath in medicine to help people. We see horrible tragedies every single day as doctors, and people who would give anything to go back and restore their vision, their health. My heart is beating out of my chest. I can't even make sense of the emotions I'm feeling, because to hear someone say, I've always felt I should be blind. Well, I've always felt I should be the Queen of England, but I'm not going out to become the Queen of
England. The audience reaction is pretty much in support of that other doctor, that female doctor. She says, I think I should have been born blind. Jewel, the individual, says there. I think I was supposed to be blind. So she blinded herself with some sort of cleaning agent. I mean, that is self-harm. And now she's claiming to be happy the way she is. I don't think that is a mentally well person. That's like saying, well, I don't think I should have been born with hands. I just cut them off. I mean, this is, I think the mental health crisis in America is enormous. Clearly, it leads to some physical health problems. But that was a shocking thing for me to watch. Yeah, and I'm hearing arguments as I'm talking. I'm hearing people going, well, what about I wanted to have a smaller nose, so I had a rhinoplasty. I wanted to have bigger eyes, so I went to a plastic surgeon. I wanted to have bigger breasts. Okay, that's about physical cosmetic beauty and cosmetic surgery. Taking your eyesight? Using I can't imagine the pain she went through. She did say there, I have some regrets about the way I did it. I don't know how else she would have done it. But I bet there is a doctor out there somewhere who would say, oh, you identify as blind? I'll take your eyeballs out for you. I'll blind you. Sure. Yeah. Why? How does that help this person live a better life? I can't think of a reason. It is stunning. So you've got this person who decides, I think I was meant to be born blind, so I'll blind myself. Look, she hasn't gone to jail for it. I can't say it's a crime. But is it healthy? Is it the right thing to do? I mean, we've got morals and ethics involved here as well. And so do you see the parallel the way that I do? That this is like saying, you know, I think I was born in the wrong body. I think I should not have breasts. I think I should be a male, or I think I should be a female. You know, particularly with kids. And the statistic I've heard is that 4 out of 5, 80% of kids who have gender dysphoria grow out of it. 80%. 4 out of 5. Whew. All right. How you sleeping after that? You know, I've been talking to you about sleep cream. I love this product. I love it. I keep it on my nightstand because it is an all-natural way for me to get my best night's sleep. Okay. So look, when this product was first presented to me, I was like, you're telling me I'm going to just put this little cream thing on my insides of my arms and I'm going to sleep better? That's what they did tell me. And so I tried it and I slept better, and I've been sleeping better ever since. Now you can find them at sleepcream.com. So what I do, just so you know, I put it like on the insides of my forearms and wrists, maybe a little bit on my neck if there's some residual. Some people put it on the bottoms of their feet. I've done that too. And within minutes, this all natural CBD based product has me relaxed enough to get a great night's sleep. Find them at sleepcream.com, cream spelled C-R-E-M-E. Try it for a couple nights. See if it works for you. And if it doesn't, ask for a full refund. They guarantee they will give you a full refund if you're not satisfied with it. You don't have to even send it back. Go to sleepcream.com. Sleep Cream with cream spelled C-R-E-M-E. Sleepcream.com. And for the next few weeks, use the code GAMEDAY, G-A-M-E-D-A-Y, Game Day, all one term. And you can get free standard shipping on your first order. Game Day. All right. Sleepcream.com. You want better sleep? Sleep, CREME.com. So one of my favorite people on the political scene is Pierre Poilievre. He's running for Prime Minister of Canada. And this goes back to this idea of this radical gender ideology. Look, I think there are two sexes, male and female, XX, XY. The chromosomes you're born with determine that. It is a 1 and 2, thing 1 and thing 2. And they are very distinct, and for good reason, because in order to propagate the population, to keep it going, we've got to have these two sexes. One produces eggs, one produces sperm. Those two things combine and we get a baby. So now, if you are more feminine or more masculine, that's about gender. Or if you want to identify as non-binary, that's up to you. I don't care. But there are two sexes, male and female. And it's been that way from the beginning of time. So Pierre Poilievre in Canada was asked about this. And again, in his cool, confident, apple-eating way, he responded to a reporter about a decision that Donald Trump had made and whether he'd be in line with it. Roll it, John.
First day on the job, President Trump signed an executive order, the U.S. government only recognizing two genders, male, female. They're unchangeable. If elected as prime minister, is that something that you're going to kind of walk in line with, or what are your feelings on that executive order?
Well, I don't know. Do you have any other genders that you'd like to name?
Me personally?
Yes.
I'm just asking more so if you're in line with what he is saying? Do you agree with what he's saying? Is that something that you would be lockstep with if elected as prime minister?
Well, I'm not aware of any other genders than men and women. I mean, if you have any other that you want me to consider, you're welcome to tell me right now.
Well, there's personally, I am a man. I am as people who say cis man. There are people there who, they say they're
me too.
Gender
I'm a man
neutral.
as well.
You are a man.
Totally.
Yes. There are people out there who say they're gender neutral. Yeah, they say they're gender neutral. They're a trans person. Is that something that you would recognize here, whereas in the States, at least with their U.S. government, the way they're seeing it, there's only two?
I'm only aware of two, but I mean, if you come up with another list, then you're welcome to do that. But I'm aware of two, and as far as I'm concerned, we should have a government that just minds its own damn business and leaves people alone.
I'm such a fan of the way he presents his arguments and the way he presents himself. It's just calm and it's common sense and it's methodical and it's funny. It's funny. And he throws reporters for a loop. It's great. It's great to watch. Look, I think he's going to be the next prime minister of Canada. I think that's going to be really intriguing to watch how much change happens there. We are not ignoring that some of you feel the way you do about your gender. That's your business. But it's not my business. So there are two sexes. You can be gender fluid. You can be whatever you want. But when it comes down to buying life insurance, you're either going to qualify as a male or a female. Because your life expectancy it's proven to be different whether you're a male or a female. So I don't know if they've come up with another category yet. I don't know why this is so controversial. What is not controversial is American Independence Gold. I told you about them earlier. Look, if you're looking for a safe haven, if you're looking for a way to protect your wealth, go to tafoyagold.com, tafoyagold.com, TAFOYA gold.com. American Independence Gold, veteran owned. We love that. They support Tunnel to Towers. We love that. They take care of fees for qualifying accounts of veterans. We love that. A lot of people want your business when it comes to gold and silver. But I like the fact that they are veteran owned and the people are very, very knowledgeable. We have a podcast dropping about that soon and they know their stuff. Look, it's not just about, hey, look, I own gold. It's about protecting wealth. It's about having a safe asset that is recognized around the world. So the phone number is there on the screen. The website, tafoyagold.com, tafoyagold.com. Go there, find out more, find out about protecting your wealth with American Independence Gold, tafoyagold.com, also in the show notes. So if you want to go check it out, it's there for you. So we'll leave you with this. And this is partly to entertain and partly to enlighten and partly to say, oh my gosh, who's teaching at Northwestern University? This next clip that we will leave you with is purportedly put together, and I can only go by what's been given to me by a professor at Northwestern. I've been trying to do the research and find out exactly what this professor teaches, but in this song, they teach how you're a transphobe. That if you're a lesbian and you won't have sex with a trans woman, meaning a biological man, then you're a transphobe. Period. This is how zany and wild and I think mentally unfit some of these people are getting about this stuff. Folks, I always end by saying be brave and do good. And when it comes to this issue, be brave and do good. You can do both. You can respect people for who and what they are, but you can also understand the reality. And I leave you now with this little song.
If you're cis and you won't date trans folks, you're a transphobe. Now if that made you mad, maybe it's your prejudices that you need to probe. No matter the reasons you've got, you're reducing us to when we disrobe. And that kind of thinking ain't sophisticated. It's more like microbes. I know you think you've got good reasons, maybe you do. Trauma's real, it's hard to heal. I'd never say that that isn't true. But transphobia's transphobia, and you won't get a pass when we're through. We're human beings, not sex organs, cis lesbians, I'm talking to you.